So it's a really nice showcase of the cutting edge research that's happening at Oxford Brookes in the field of the creative industries, but also a great platform for lots of local and international creatives to celebrate and showcase what they do.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Dr. Hannah Yelin, who's a reader in gender, media and culture at Oxford Brookes University. Good morning, Hannah.
Hi, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. Really fascinated to find out more about this incredible festival that's happening on campus next week. Do tell us all about it.
Yeah, so next week is our fourth International Creative Industries Festival. It starts on Tuesday, and as you say, the first 3 days are on campus, but for those of your listeners who can't get to campus, we actually have a totally online day on the Friday as well, to make it that bit more accessible to people further afield. And yeah, it is a jam-packed celebration of the creative industries, where we will have workshops and performances and discussions and exhibitions. We have about 50 contributors over the 4 days. So it's a really nice showcase of the cutting edge research that's happening at Oxford Brookes in the field of the creative industries, but also a great platform for lots of local and international creatives to celebrate and showcase what they do.
There is so much going on. I was just having a sort of a quick sort of squiz through just all on Eventbrite and what have you, and there's so much happening across the weekend. Fantastic that it's also going to be online as well for those that can't make it down. That's a brilliant stuff. I wanted to ask you: is there certain, I would say favourites, and there's a wrong sort of word, but is there any sort of bits and bobs across the weekend that you'd love to sort of highlight and say, actually, if you're thinking about heading down, pop and see that, because that's going to be really, it's all going to be interesting, of course it is. But if there's anything that sort of sticks out for you.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what you're into, because, of course, the creative industries are so broad. So we have discussions from artists. We've got Simon Foxall, a wonderful established fine artist, calling in from Italy to talk about surreal queer utopias, which I think is going to be really interesting. We have photography exhibitions. We have poets coming to give performances. There'll be discussions of literature, and film and fashion. We've got a samba reggae band performing, and with dancers and be able to come and dance along. We've got a reading of a new play. On Friday, we've got Hollywood screenwriters dialing in from Hollywood to talk about the SAG-AFTRA writers' strikes and celebrity culture. On the first day, we have a hands-on kind of body combat workshop in stunt skills and like choreographed fighting in film. So that's going to be really, if you feel up to that should be really fun. But yeah, just it's hard for me to choose something in particular. I'm excited for a lot of it, and it really just depends whatever you're into. We've got some really great programming covering it. Yeah.
Yeah, you really do, and I'm glad you kind of sort of deep dived into it all there, because even the stunt demonstration, I missed that. There's so much going on. That sounds absolutely brilliant, and something just you never think of at a festival. Absolutely superb, which is amazing.
So yeah, that's going to be on our day one, which is next Tuesday. So I think that's one something that you don't get elsewhere. So one not to miss.
No, for sure. And in terms of a bit more of a broader question, because the kind of the sort of culture and the sort of everything to do with media, this is an ever changing compendium. It seems like hourly. Everything that you've got kind of going on at the festival is just like a little kind of what's going on and all the changes that are happening. It must be. In the work for yourself, ever changing, ever learning, ever kind of gathering more knowledge and more information about all of this stuff that's going on.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, that kind of tees me up nicely to tell you about our theme this year, which is power and change. So every year we have a theme. Last year it was joyful resistance. The year before it was creative industries for a better society. And yet when we thought about this theme, power and change, we were thinking, well, it was last summer we thought that coming year is going to probably be an election year. You know, we're going to be seeing big conversations about power and change on both sides of the Atlantic. And then, of course, well, I mean, even just last week, Parliament was warned about how AI is making the creative industries just completely financially unviable for the majority of artists, and that's the threat in the future. So, I mean, technological change is rapid, political change is imminent. I mean, the state of global affairs right now, you know, the questions about power and the changing order and are huge and important, much more huge and important and serious than we ever imagined when we picked this theme. But yeah, change is constant and endemic in the creative industries. Creative industries really are, it's not just entertainment and aesthetics, although I value those things. I think they're very important. But the creative industries are agents of change. They create change, and they're manifestations of change. They reflect what's going on in terms of social progress and transformation. So yeah, our theme, power and change, really responds to and invites the consideration of that in our society and the creative industries as part of that.
Brilliant. It is so fascinating. I'm a learner. When I sit here and kind of we have incredible guests on, I'm always sat here. I'm a learner of everything that's going on. I just sit there just in awe of everything that is going to be happening. I wanted to touch briefly, just because I'm super interested in this, and some songs can be ditched. But in terms of AI. That's something that's on everyone's lips, and some people will know a great deal about it, and some people will just mentioning it in passing. You mentioned yourself that AI coming into the creative industries, you know, radio, for example. You know, there could be an AI version of my voice. I hope there isn't, but you know, there's always going to be something to kind of replicate. All the artists, all the creatives, all this. That's such a hot topic at the moment.
Yeah, and really a kind of existential question of what we want society to be and what we want our lives to be like, and where we, you know, value our humanity, I suppose. I mean, those who are you know, positive proponents of AI say, you know, it's a really powerful tool to augment human capability. I mean, I have to, you know, I don't want to be too political or off topic, but we have seen AI deployed in warfare now, which, you know, is very hard to reconcile with that discourse of it's just going to augment our creativity. You know, artists are already having to fight for their careers. And last year's SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild of America strike, it was a 4-month strike. It was the biggest strike in America in 30 years. No, second biggest, strike in America in 30 years. That's huge labor action. That's you know, doesn't come around very often. That's because people are concerned now about being replaced. And you know, the history of human jobs being replaced by machines is a worrying one. I mean, we'll go back to the 80s, the whopping dispute. Printmakers were replaced by machines. We go back to the late 19th century, and engineers, skilled craftsmen. You know, electric lathes came in, and you didn't need skilled craftsmen anymore. You could get cheap labor. Go back even further to the early 19th century. The Luddites, a word we still use now, not only were they replaced by machines, but it became punishable by death by the government to break the machines, because the way they were disputing it was breaking the machines. And 17 men were executed by the government for breaking the machines. So the history of our relationship between labor and technology, like, it's high stakes stuff.
Wow.
So I'm not saying that, you know, it's all, you know, it's all going to be quite as bad as it was for the Luddites, but we would take it lightly at our peril. And in terms of creativity, particularly, I think, you know, the rise of automation in creative processes, that really raises questions for the future of human expression and the role of artists, as our world is increasingly, driven by algorithms.
It's an utterly fascinating topic, and I'm sure many of these conversations are going to be had at the wonderful festival, which is going to be next week. I'd love to chat forevermore on this subject. I find it so fascinating, so interesting.
And you can tell I could go on and on, so sorry.
No, not at all, not at all. It's absolutely fascinating. I'm sure this has sparked a lot of interest with people listening now, and kind of just going, wow, there's such an incredible conversation to go a lot deeper into just what we've been talking about now, and much more besides. But let everyone know just where we can find out a little bit more information about the International Creative Industries Festival, which, as you said, is happening next week.
So I guess the easiest thing to do would be to Google Brooks Creative Industries Festival 2024. And on the website, you'll find all of the links for registration, or whether it's online or in person, where to go on campus and the times of things. So yeah, nice program to peruse and see what you're into.
Yeah, there's some absolutely cracking stuff on there. Really, really interesting stuff. Dr. Hannah Yelin, reader in Gender, Media and Culture at Oxford Brookes University. Thanks ever so much for joining me. It's been absolutely fascinating.